Hi, friend. It's Amar, and I am super excited to record this video. And if I'm totally honest, I am a little nervous, and I don't know why. What I want to talk about today is humanity's galactic heritage, our universal lineage, the fact that humans aren't really native to this planet. Shocking, I know, right? And all of this star family stuff, galactic origin, galactic heritage, I really believe that in the next few years, this is going to become a major, major influence in our human experience, our human history, our understanding of who we are. I mean, I really do believe that we are living in a moment in time where we are going to look back and see how profoundly transformational this moment was and is. Because if here's, I'm just going to lay it out there. If you are still operating under the belief that we are alone in the universe, that we are the only sentient, intelligent beings, and that all of the other planets and all of the other dimensions and all of the other galaxies are somehow lifeless, you have no idea what's going on. You really have not been paying attention, or you've been deliberately and intentionally kind of plugging your ears, la, 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 I can't hear you, I can't hear you. Because let's face it, you would have had to have been living under a rock for the past 10 years with zero access to any sort of information to really still believe that humans are the only intelligent life in our experience. And I really do believe that it's time that we begin to intentionally explore this. And I think most importantly, especially right now, is that we begin to explore it from an individual perspective. Imagine for a moment that suddenly the fact that we are not alone in this universe, have never been alone in this universe, that our star family, the aliens, the ETs, they're already here, they're already walking among us. And hey, surprise, humans are also a member of the galactic organization. We also have a place at the galactic table. So to other beings, we're the aliens. And I think that what we are really preparing for is, what do we do? Who do we become, and how do we perceive our fellow humans when it becomes unmistakably, undeniably clear that we are one of a multitude of life forms? What happens to these governmental institutions when it's no longer this side of the planet versus this side of the planet, and we see, oh, we're all living on the same planet. And there are a whole lot of other planets with a whole lot of other beings on them as well. So, does it make sense any longer to continue to create adversaries on the planet that we all inhabit together? What happens to those governmental institutions when the idea of borders becomes ludicrous when you're talking about a planetary galactic perspective? What happens to those religious organizations and institutions when we see that, oh, wow, okay, what becomes of the notions of heaven and hell and right or wrong and sinner and saint when you see that, again, we are one of a multitude of intelligent life forms currently inhabiting this reality? And I think it's really important that we begin to normalize this conversation. I think it's really important that we begin to express ourselves freely and openly and give ourselves permission to be curious about this and to express this. I think it's really ironic. And I've been laughing at myself over the past couple of days because the past couple of days I have found myself really, really inspired, nudged very firmly to have this conversation and begin this dialogue. And isn't it funny? Over the years, I have had a handful of experiences with star friends and star family. And you can see it on my YouTube channel. I believe it's the Arcturian light body meditation. I also worked with a Pleiadian group and another Arcturian group briefly for moments throughout the past 10, 15 years, but never anything to the degree that it inspired me to make a claim as a star seed or a galactic ambassador or whatever. Mostly because that's not what I felt was necessary. I didn't think I needed to slap another badge on my name tag and say, oh, this is who I am now. So, what I really want to do with this video is to begin this conversation and begin this process of normalizing these kinds of topics and this sort of content and this dialogue and our willingness to explore, our willingness to be curious, our willingness to entertain another point of view that maybe we don't necessarily believe in, or maybe we think is ridiculous, or maybe we think is, a little bit out there. But we need to have those skills of critical thinking. We need to reinvigorate and resurrect our ability to entertain a perspective that maybe isn't one that we currently embrace or hold up as truth, but we can hear another person share it and go, huh, that's interesting. That's not a perspective that I would have embraced, but look at them with all of this information and insight. And now I'm actually a little bit curious. We have gotten so afraid of conversations and discussions on any range of topics that don't fit this very narrow, very rigid, very limiting realm of what is acceptable, what is appropriate, and what isn't. And I just am so tired of that. I'm so exhausted of tiptoeing through this imagined landmine of, or minefield of, ooh, I can't say that. Ooh, should I say that? Like, I'm no longer interested in cutting off the rough edges. So if this conversation is one that makes you uncomfortable, if this conversation is one where you think Amar has totally lost it, awesome. If this conversation is one that sparks your curiosity and starts to stoke your flames of exploration and that internal sense of like, ooh, maybe there is something to this. Because again, I'm going to reiterate this. 5 years from now, the notion of humans just being this lonely group of beings on a blue marble orbiting somewhere on the outs, external boundaries of the Milky Way, that's just not how it's going to be. That's just not how it's going to be. And there are a lot of people on the planet right now who are going to be rocked to their core. Their foundations are going to be shaken. Those cages are going to be rattled. It is absolutely going to shatter their worldview. And what I know about the human experience is that the power we have is when we can come together and show each other what else is possible, show each other what can happen when you're willing and curious to live as an example of what is possible when you have reclaimed the truth of who and what you are. That's why we're here. So I'm really, really excited about having this conversation. I am really, really excited about diving into these circles with you and with our extended galactic family. This is something that I have seen sort of on the periphery of my work for quite some time now. And as I have moved to Sedona, I've been getting little nudges and little nuggets dropped in here and there of like, get ready, get ready, because this shift that your work is calling you into is going to bring you to levels of awareness and insight and conversations and discussions with your fellow humans and your star family and your star tribe. Like, get ready to go beyond. Get ready to go beyond the boundaries of what you have been told is true. Because I know without a doubt that our history has been so corrupted. Our notions of what has happened and how it has happened and who were the winners and the losers and all of that, the historical story and narrative that we have been presented with over the past several thousand years is mostly false. And so I think it's really important that we begin to normalize curiosity. We begin to normalize this conversation. Look around. It is everywhere out there. And there's one thing that always points me in the direction of being a little bit sus about what's going on with the establishment. When the establishment, the acceptable collective human narrative, when the establishment, these institutions are all banding together and fighting and screaming and yelling and trying to whitewash or alter specific narratives and stories directly and intentionally, that is always a sign that we're onto something. When you see the establishment screaming, saying, no, it's not this, look over there, the last thing I'm going to do is look over there. I'm going to look directly at the thing that they're telling me not to look at because that's the very thing that they don't want me to see. So, if you are curious about these kinds of conversations, if you are interested in beginning to explore your galactic heritage, I have an event coming up starting on Sunday, October 26th. It's 3 Sundays in a row, so it's October 26th, and then the additional dates are November 2nd, November 9th. We're going to be meeting for 2 hours each Sunday. It's super cheap. It's like 11 bucks. And the first Sunday, we're going to be talking about grounding into the truth of who and what you are, grounding into the current field of galactic energy. Week two is going to be centering. Week two is going to be finding that center so that you can begin to communicate and connect with the alien that lives within. Ooh, that's so exciting to me. And then week three is going to be expansion, expanding beyond your central self, expanding beyond your core to connect your field with the field of your galactic brothers and sisters, cousins, relatives. Here's the thing, the field does the work. All we have to do is be super clear on our intention and our reasons for gathering, and we connect and we gather and we begin this process of expanding and exploring and opening ourselves up to new layers of our awareness, new layers of our insight, new layers of what is possible with within the identities that we have held up as true. All of that is changing. So now is the time for us to begin to open ourselves up to the possibility of change, open ourselves up to the possibility of expanding our worldview, our universal view beyond the one that we have been told is true. If you want to explore this with me, I'm going to put all the information in the description below. I'm really, really excited about this. What I know is that all you have to do is begin taking mindful and intentional steps towards the work, the connections, the topics that you're curious about. And once you signal through your willingness to move in that direction and open yourself up to consider all sorts of things that you had previously not even considered could be possibly true, Spirit arrives with so much grace, with so much support. And that is how we begin to have these conversations. And that is how we begin to make these connections by willingly showing up and extending ourselves, extending a hand to our brothers and sisters of the stars and saying, hey, I'm ready to meet you. I'm ready to connect with you. I'm ready to remember who and what I really am. So if this is interesting to you, again, all of the information is below. I'm really, really excited about this, and I hope you'll join me. And if my fears of you thinking that I've lost it, thinking that I'm crazy, thinking that I'm going to wear the tinfoil hat, if that's where your mind has gone, hey, I understand it. I totally get it. For years, I walked around trying to partition my mental understanding so that I could kind of relegate this sort of information just to the sideline. But I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore because it's not real. We really are star beings. We really do have families up there in other dimensions and other galaxies, on other planets and other versions of reality. And that's just going to be something that inevitably, eventually, over time, over the next few years, is going to be something that we just integrate into our worldview. And the story of what it is to be a human is going to change dramatically. So if you're interested, if you're curious, join me. If you think I've lost it and you want to run for the hills, that's fine. I wish you well. Good luck and Godspeed. What is the saying? Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.